this is Donnie from Handboards, and I'm going to tell you the story about the evolution of the street sweeper. We started out with a partnership with this company called Beach Mountain that sold, I think they were oak poles with a T-handle and this ball on the bottom, okay? And we really liked it. It was very simple. The ball would give us pretty good grip on the ground. That was good. We loved this ergonomic handle, and we convinced them to make one out of composite rather than wood. And when we did that, we asked them, hey, can you make it a two-piece, so for easier shipping and storage? So they came up with this design where you insert the top piece into the bottom piece. All the bottom tubes were the same, and we had different lengths of top halves. So this is a partnership we had with these guys, and we sold these for several years. And you know, they were flexible and they were strong. I don't think we ever had anybody break one, but there were some limitations we learned after a period of time. This handle would get a little mushy over time, and then this would make a clicking sound. This joint would make a clicking sound every time you landed the paddle, and that wasn't really a delighter, let's say. And then if you wore out the ball, you were done. There was no way to replace the ball. So we sold this paddle, I think 3 different sizes for several years, and that was kind of where we started. We also wanted to look at an adjustable paddle, and so we found this flexible fiberglass tube that had this neat little thumb lock adjustment. This thing worked terrific. We really liked this, and it had this really cool composite handle on it, which was very comfortable to use. The issue with this is great for water, but if you drop this on a concrete, you're likely to crack it, and eventually you might get a carbon fiber splinter, and those are pretty bad. They can really mess you up. So we wanted to stay away from the composite handles. And we had met this guy who owns this company, Skate Pole, at Surf Expo, and man, I tell you what, it was love at first sight. The minute I saw this pusher tip, I knew that Bill had invented the very best pusher tip. He had this aluminum telescoping pole. I'm gonna take it, stretch it all the way out, okay, and then lock it down. All right, lock it down, and it had this handle on the top that was made to fit into your palm, and this fantastic pusher tip that would articulate. And I'll show you why it's so good. Whenever you land this thing, it grips. Every single time you land it, it holds the ground super well. It was absolutely love at first sight. So what I loved about this was the tip, but I don't know if you can tell, but as I was doing that, this thing is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And that's because this lock isn't really perfect. It's not a positive lock, it's like a friction lock. And so eventually this thing would just keep getting shorter and shorter. And that was definitely a limit. And I'm not so sure that this was all that comfortable. This handle wasn't all that comfortable whenever I would go for long paddles. So I asked Bill, I said, hey Bill, can I buy these tips from you and put them on my own paddle? And he said, yeah, sure. So it turns out he has a patent on it, and we licensed the rights to use this tip on a paddle that's not aluminum, so we didn't compete with it. In fact, we sold his paddles on our website. In fact, we sold the very last ones that were ever sold, and I just don't think he decided to continue along this, because I don't think he ordered any more. But this tip lives on. We love this thing. And then here's this other design. This other design is incredibly innovative. It's just brilliant. It's got a spring. It's got a spring down here that when you land it, you can load a tremendous amount of energy into this thing. I don't know if you can see this bending here, but man, you can really load a lot of power into that thing. And it has this handle. Again, it has one of these round handles to fit into your palm, and it turns out that that round handle is like the biggest limit for this thing, I think, because if you land this tip like this, it'll grip the ground fine, but whenever it gives you back the energy, it gives it back to you that way rather than this way. So, and if you land it this way, if you load it this way, it gives you back the energy out this way, away from your direction. And I really wanted it to give me the energy back straight out every single time. So, and the other thing is this thing is curved and there's no handle on it to orient that it's lined up straight. So I had a few problems, and more than a couple of times I stuck this thing right under my front wheel and it wasn't good. I ate it pretty good. So the thing I like about this is how you could load a lot of energy into it and you could get it back out. The limits were that it wasn't symmetrical. I couldn't make a mistake on how I planted the paddle. So I wanted something that was more forgiving. So that leads us to the very first handboard street sweeper prototype. It was a straight pole, not a tube. So it looks like a tube up here, but as you go down here, it gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So it's a pole rather than a tube. And it turns out that makes a huge difference in how much energy you can load into it. So it's actually quite comfortable loading energy in and then getting it back out. It's actually really comfortable. And this is a combination of fiberglass and carbon fiber. So it's not like 100% fiberglass, which really doesn't give you enough power. You can't load enough energy into it. But with the mix of carbon and fiberglass, this works terrific. And then I had Bill's skate pole on, skate tip on here, and also made it so that you could screw it off and screw it back on, because it has these threads on it. It's just threaded inside a threaded insert inside here, and there's a little set screw in here that keeps it from unscrewing while you're using it. So this paddle we sold for quite a while. We sold it in 3 different sizes. I think it was 7 feet, 6.5, and 6. I can't exactly remember. But we sold these for quite a while. But as you can imagine, you know, shipping a 7-foot long pole was prohibitively expensive. The other limit was, you know, we really wanted, if I'm going upwind, I want a shorter paddle so that I can get down and get short strokes, mostly pushing like this. But if I'm going downwind, I want a nice long paddle where I can nice long strokes and use all of the energy that I can load into the paddle, into the shaft, into the tube. So after a few short seasons of selling the one-piece street sweeper with this skate tip and this molded EVA handle, we decided to go ahead and change to the current street sweeper, which has an adjustable thumb lock on this shaft. It has the skate tip. It has a tapered pole, and it comes in several sizes. This particular model has the plastic molded handle on it, and this is the paddle that we designed to be the least expensive paddle we could sell, that had all the components we wanted. It was symmetrical. You didn't have to worry about where you placed it. You could load it. It had good grip. You could bang this thing on the concrete. Very durable. This is the medium custom paddle. It's designed for people that are 5'8" to about 6 feet and down to about 5 foot, you know, 5 foot or so. And so we still have this product in the lineup. The best product we sell right now is this new paddle. This is our current, this is the Poi Pounder pusher tip with a stainless steel set screw in here. We have the tapered pole. We have the thumb lock. And we have this super nice EVA grip. This thing is super rugged, super powerful, and see how the Poi Pounder, it actually changes shape when you press it. So it lands on the ground and then it actually flexes. And that's why this is designed like this. It's not a ball, it's shaped like a poi pounder. And so this is what makes this thing magical, is that it will grip the ground as a ball, but then it'll roll. And what we found with our pro riders, we found that this tip actually gives you more power for people who ride aggressively than this skate tip. And to be honest with you, I still like them both. I mean, I can't honestly say that that I have a strong preference either way, but I would say that if I'm going for a really long distance and I'm dealing with lots of different terrain, I'm going to say that I personally still believe in this design, this skate tip design, because when it lands, it goes nowhere. And it doesn't matter how you land it, if it's off angle, it doesn't matter. So if I'm going out for a long ride or I'm not feeling all that aggressive, I'm liking this tip. But if I'm going to go out and try to do a very competitive event, like a 5K, a timed 5K, I'm going to want the poi pounder, because it really does just give you that much more grip. Again, it doesn't matter how you line it up, it's just gripping. And then look at how much flex there is in this. Look at how much flex there is in this pole. I mean, that's very comfortable to load and to unload. And so this is our current Street Sweeper Pro model. It comes in 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. The small is for people 5'4" and under and kids. The medium is for people about 5'8", and the large Pro is for people that are 6-footers and higher. The neat thing about deciding about your tip is you can have them both, because all they are is screwed in. So if you wear out a tip, you can replace it. You can have both. You can try both. They cost the same. Even though I pay a royalty for this one, we price them the same. And we found that competitive athletes tend to prefer the poi pounder, and casual riders tend to prefer the skate tip. If you've got any questions about these paddles, send us an email at customerservice@handboards.com. We'll be glad to tell you everything we know and point you to some videos to help you make a decision.
The grip on this is great. The power on this is great. The flex on this is great. And the poi pounder for this is, I mean, this is just a great paddle in general. It feels really good to ride with this one, and it doesn't hurt my arms, so